Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m., 25 degrees on this Tuesday morning. I'm Melissa Holmes. We've got another half hour left of Daybreak here on WGRZ Plus. Community leaders are reacting this morning after a 4-year-old was shot at a home on Bailey Avenue in Buffalo. The child is expected to survive and was scheduled for surgery yesterday. We have not gotten an update on how the surgery went. The shooting happened Sunday afternoon. Buffalo police detectives executed a search warrant at the same home hours later. Police have not released any details about how the shooting happened or whether any arrests have been made. But 2 on Your Side spoke with the founder of Buffalo Peacemakers, Pastor James Giles. He says while all gun violence is concerning, he does not believe that this shooting was targeted. He says regardless of what happened, he believes this incident serves as a reminder for parents to check in with their children.
It's not a typical event. It's not like it's going to create, some mayhem on that particular street. That's not what's getting ready to happen. But we do want to send a message to parents to pay attention to what it is that their young people, particularly young boys, are. And, they're getting the guns from somewhere.
The investigation is continuing, and Child Protective Services has been notified and is actively involved in this situation. A teenager is dead following a tragic snowmobile crash in Warsaw. State police say 17-year-old Stephen Gregory was killed Sunday after his snowmobile hit a log pile and he lost control. A 16-year-old riding behind him hit the same log pile and his snowmobile landed on top of Gregory. Both were taken to the hospital where Gregory was declared dead. Police say this might have been avoided, though, if the riders were on marked trails.
And these machines now are very, very fast, especially with the winter we've had. There's very good conditions out there, so they can reach up to speeds over 100 miles an hour. And, unfortunately, a lot of things can happen with those speeds. So the state speed limit is 55 miles an hour on the trails. So that is one thing, to keep in mind.
And the condition of the 16-year-old is not yet known, but we will keep you posted when we find out more information. A New York State trooper is recovering after being hurt early Saturday morning on the thruway in Lancaster. State police say the trooper was helping a disabled motorist when a passing car spun out, hit the parked patrol vehicle with its emergency lights on, and pushed it into the trooper. The driver was given several tickets for unsafe driving. State police say this is the second time a trooper has been hit on the thruway in the past 2 weeks. And they're reminding drivers to slow down and move over for emergency vehicles. A West Seneca man is hours away from learning his fate in court for a deadly pedestrian crash in North Buffalo. Samuel Bear is expected to be sentenced later today. In late 2024, a 59-year-old man was crossing Elmwood Avenue between Hurdle and Hinman, and a Good Samaritan, Joseph Domnessy, got out of his vehicle to help that man and stop oncoming traffic. But that's when investigators say Bear hit Domnessy with his pickup truck and left the scene. Domnessy did not survive. Bear has pleaded guilty to leaving the scene of an incident resulting in death. He faces 7 years in prison when he's sentenced today. New video shows the aftermath of a massive fire in Newfane. The Niagara County Sheriff's Office says it broke out just before noon yesterday on East Avenue. Investigators say the fire began in the garage and quickly spread to the home, which is now a total loss. Thankfully, the couple inside made it out safely. They're being helped by the Red Cross, and we're told that local businesses and neighbors are helping that Newfane couple. Well, this Wednesday will mark 1 year since 2 students were almost abducted at the Charles R. Drew Magnet School in Buffalo. It's an incident that the public still really doesn't have a firm grasp on. But as 2 on Your Side's Rob Hackford reports, that could soon be changing. Rob, a lot of unanswered questions surrounding this case still.
Yeah, Melissa, and hopefully there'll be some answers included in this report that's set to be released within 30 days of the board receiving it. This all happened again on February 11th of 2025 when Shane Cronin entered the school through the Science Museum. But at the time, no mention of that attempted abduction was made by the district. Shane Cronin was charged with burglary, assault, and endangering the welfare of a child. But it took until April of 2025 for Buffalo police officer Richard Haidt to blow the whistle on this whole thing and shared what he called a cover-up within the district. Haidt alleged that evidence had been destroyed, and at the time, BPS called the allegations untruths. but then promised a full investigation. So back in June, the Board of Education hired a law firm to conduct an independent investigation into those claims. The board has received that over 100-page report with recommendations that are set to be released at the end of this month. Jill Yonkers, the attorney that led the investigation, has told the board that the public will not see the complete report, but a redacted version. That's to protect the identity of the students.
Because this is a matter of safety and because students are of paramount importance to the board, by law and otherwise, there are pieces of this report that cannot be disclosed. They are working through that process and they will be committed to that over the next 30 days.
Now, if and when the district sticks to its pledge, the release of these documents is supposed to happen again within 30 days of the board receiving it. They got it at the end of January, which would mean public release by February 20th. Now, back in January, 31-year-old Cronin was sentenced to 5 years in prison. The Board of Education has its regular scheduled meeting this Wednesday. On your side in the newsroom, Rob Hackford, Channel 2 News.
Yeah, Rob, I think the report, a lot of people want to know, how did this guy get into the school? So hopefully the report will address maybe some security deficiencies, if there are any. But also the question of an alleged cover-up within the school district was something that Richard High discussed a lot on that podcast, correct?
Yeah, and those details we would expect to be in this report. Of course, we don't know what's in it at this point. When we've asked the district for any information, they've referred us to the law firm, and Rupp Pfaltzgraff, that law firm, has been very holding this report close to the breast, making sure that it is released in a timely manner, that this investigation, as they've said, was truly independent and very all-encompassing as well. And again, February 20th, the date that we expect to see it. We'll continue to keep you updated, of course, and review it once we do get it in-house here.
Yeah, there were some concerns about possibly some video being taped over or not handled properly. Also concerns that the parents of the second child involved weren't even informed that their child had been involved until they were informed later during the police investigation. So yeah, a lot of unanswered questions, but again, February 20th, that day that we're looking forward to hopefully learn more in the investigation. Rob, thank you for that. And it is now 9:07 on Daybreak. 25 glorious degrees out there, Patrick.
It is certainly a lot warmer than yesterday. That is the truth. Temperatures today closing in on 40 degrees, perhaps a few rain showers this afternoon. Tonight, dry weather, but a couple rain and then eventually snow showers towards morning. And that's what we will see for your Wednesday as high temperatures close in on 30. About a 10-degree drop tomorrow from today with some snow showers. Yes. Mid-20s, even some mid-30s showing up at Dunkirk, 34 degrees. This is your 24-hour temperature change. We're at 30 to 35 degrees warmer than we were at this time yesterday. We did have some light snow that has passed off to the east. The rest of the day today looks pretty quiet with perhaps maybe a little rain shower around midday, but it won't be much. Temperatures, though, certainly will be warm enough to produce a rain shower if any precipitation does form. It's going to be pretty light. And then as we head into tomorrow, a push of colder air arrives, and that will lead to some lake-enhanced snow showers, it looks like, during the day tomorrow and even into Thursday, where we could get a couple of inches of snow. Yes, it's a warmer weather pattern, but it doesn't mean you can't get snow, and that's what we certainly will get. Not today. Today will be a little rain shower, but notice tomorrow we get a quick 1 to 2 inches for your Wednesday, and then Wednesday night into Thursday, we could add a little bit to that, where some of us could get 3 to 4, maybe even up to 8 inches of snow, especially in the hills. So high temperatures today, upper 30s with a couple of rain showers this afternoon. Tomorrow, around 30 with periods of snow at times. And for today, we've had the early snow. The afternoon rain shower is still possible, 39. For tonight, down to 29, mostly cloudy with some snow showers late. And then snow showers, it looks like tomorrow, where we could get an inch or two. Long range forecast, dry weather then through Friday, even into the weekend, as mild temperatures. In fact, next week is now beginning to look really warm. So we talked about we don't want to get too warm to cause too much of a melt. I will say this, we're 40 on Sunday. That may be just the beginning of a more significant warm up Melissa, as we head into next week.
Patrick, Bain de Soleil weather?
If you're a Saint-Tropez lady, absolutely.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, or if you do want to reminisce, we'll talk about that later on in the show. Patrick will explain. But also coming up right after the break, this weekend's weather is looking perfect if you'd like to do some bird watching. We'll explain the international festival happening within the next couple days, coming up right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Patrick's seat right now, we have got a really special guest representing the bird community here in Western New York. A really great festival happening this weekend. And Vice President and co-organizer of Birds on the Niagara, Marcus Rustin's joining us this morning. Tell us about the festival that's happening Thursday through Sunday, right?
Yeah, we are really excited to kick off Birds on the Niagara 2026 this weekend. We're going to kick off on Friday this year, and we'll have bird walks, programs, and workshops all the way through Monday for people to get out and celebrate the great diversity of birds that visit Buffalo in the winter.
Yeah, and finally, the weather's really going to cooperate for this festival. I know the past couple of years you haven't had great weather, and if it was last weekend, no one would want to be standing outside. But this weather is really great, which is really surprising because I don't know a lot about birds, but I think that most birds fly south for the winter. So what kind of birds could we see around this time of year here in Western New York?
That is true. Birds, will a lot of times fly south for the winter, but what people forget is we are that south for a lot of birds. In the winter, Buffalo becomes a globally significant, important bird area because of the diversity of birds that will come down from the north, from the Arctic Circle, to hang out on the Niagara River all winter long. So we are essentially those birds' Florida, since we're used to snowbirds in Western New York.
Right. We're looking at this video here. Obviously, seagulls there. Those are swans?
Yeah.
Right. We were just talking about the swans at Beaver Island right now?
Yeah, that footage is right on the Niagara River, taken from Beaver Island State Park on Grand Island. The Niagara River becomes homes to hundreds of tundra swans, tens of thousands of ducks, and hundreds of thousands of gulls that come down to hang out over winter.
I love the ducks on your sweater right
They can
now.
try to stay on theme.
What about snowy owls? We've seen some of our viewers get amazing pictures of those and send them to us. How rare is that, and how hard is it to actually spot a snowy owl?
They used to be a little bit more common. They are seemingly a little bit harder to find nowadays. They have what are called interruption years. So they have cycles where they will kind of come a little bit farther south certain years than other. This year doesn't seem to be one of those interruption years. So they're a little bit harder to find, but there are plenty of other birds out there, including bald eagle, that you can see, whenever you want along
That would be
Niagara.
really majestic to see a bald eagle in person. You seem so passionate about this, Marcus. How did you get into bird watching and birding, and what is your expertise?
Yeah, so, I used to be an intern at Rhinestone Woods Nature Preserve, and one winter, one of our tasks was to count all of the birds that visit the bird feeder over the winter. And at that point, I didn't know what diversity of birds visit Buffalo, so I was amazed to learn that there are over a dozen birds that visit your bird feeder. And from there, I was hooked. And suddenly spring comes in and all of those migratory birds start coming through, and that dozen or so birds that visit your backyard can grow to over 300 birds that call the Niagara River corridor home. And the reason I love birding is because it's a never-ending scavenger hunt that gives you something new to get out there and search. Even the same walk in your favorite park can be different each time.
That's amazing. And it's a hobby that people can take up at any age, that parents or grandparents can share with their children also. If you're getting into it for the first time, what do you need to know about it? And what's the best way to get immersed into this bird culture?
The best way is to come out this weekend to Birds on the Niagara. We are going to have beginner bird walks that will pair you with an expert guide that will take you out and show you what to look for, what bird species are out there. If you are a little bit adverse to being outside, we have workshops that will teach you bird photography and art through birds. So the best way is to, get out there, and this weekend we will have guides at Niagara Falls State Park where working with the state park, and they have provided free parking at Goat Island and admission to Cave of the Winds. Oh, wow. So it's a great time to go to the bottom of Niagara Falls, see it in its icy splendor, and we'll have a spotting scope guide down there to show you what birds are visiting as well.
Wow. So with the weather being so cooperative this weekend and at 40, which will feel like a heat wave, to be able to go to the falls, see a frozen Niagara Falls, do the what did we just call it?
Cave of the Winds.
Cave of the Winds. Thank you. I was about to say Maid of the Mist, but Cave of the Winds, and be immersed in this the Birds on the Niagara Festival. It really sounds like an amazing weekend there.
Yeah, no, we really hope folks come out. We'll have walks on Saturday, Sunday, and on Monday. We also are an international festival. We work really closely with our friends over on the Canadian side of the river. Encourage folks to check out programming that are on that side as well to give a different perspective if you haven't seen it.
Fantastic. And do you need to sign up ahead of time, or can you just show up?
Our walks do have registration so that we can let you know where exactly to meet. So if you head to our website at bird-niagara.org, you can check out all of those walks, and then join us for a social event on Friday at Tap That Tap Room in Tonawanda and meet and greet the birding community, and we'll get you ready for the festival this weekend.
Very cool. Marcus Roston, thank you so much for joining us this morning, informing me about the birds that like to call Buffalo their South for the winter and the things happening this weekend at the Birds on the Niagara Festival. Very nice.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, coming up after the break, Patrick's antics. Stick around for it. Who knew I'd be so interested in birds? Marcus Roston with Birds on Niagara. That was a great interview.
I can't stop talking to him during this little break here, because we're all, even now, I get up in the morning and I heard a bird chirp. And I'm like, are they back? Are they? Oh, and one other thing. When I lived in Minnesota, there was a duck that came to our neighbor's pond, and it returned every year. Oh, and it would fly away in the winter.
How do you know it was the same duck?
It was the same duck. Every summer or spring, it would return with a partner or two, but it was the same duck, and it flew to wherever south is. And it would come back. So,
like your neighbor's pond.
Hearing about these migration, like this is the South.
And the heron, is that what you're?
No, a crane.
Crane.
A crane. Our neighborhood here has a crane that.
You described it as a pterodactyl.
When it launches its wings, it's.
Okay, so Patrick likes imitating pterodactyls here, or cranes.
Right.
You also like to share your love of certain commercials with us. Take a look at what happened at 7:30 this morning on Daybreak. 21 degrees. Never thought that would feel like a heat wave, Patrick, but it really does.
Oh my gosh.
They're really looking good for the rest of the week.
Compared to Monday?
Yeah.
This is like Club Med material. Let's go.
Right.
Get the chaise lounges out. Get the Bando Soleil ready to protect yourself from the warmth. Remember the Bando Soleil commercials?
No idea what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, Bando Soleil. It was a famous sunscreen.
Okay.
And it's like this deep orange.
Oh.
Okay. But the commercials for Bando Soleil for the Bando Soleil lady, were like exquisite, like European style commercials.
Oh.
With this like exotic pool scene and a lovely young lady diving into a pool. Look it up.
I will look it up, but you just. So we looked it up. And
I described it pretty well.
You really did. You missed the Saint-Tropez part, but you did describe Europe.
Bando Soleil for the Saint-Tropez lady. Yes, that was it.
Don't believe us. Believe the commercial.
Tropez, almost all they wear is the deep, dark color of
Bando Soleil for the Saint-Tropez.
Bando Soleil. Protection de 4, 6, 8, 15.
Bando Soleil for the Saint-Tropez.
For people who can choose anything they want, and they choose the best.
Bando Soleil.
So when you think sunscreen, you think fine wine, right?
I think the little naked little kid's butt on the pink bottle. Which
Right.
one is that?
Right.
That's what I go to.
No, Bando Soleil was for when you can get anything that you want. And if you want to choose a fine bottle of wine, get the Bando Soleil.
I do French's mustard, your Grey Poupon.
But of course.
Or Weber's mustard, actually, here in Buffalo. I love that that is where your mind goes, and your singing was very accurate. I mean, it may have been you in that Bain de Soleil commercial.
I want to say that there are times that I feel vindicated because you're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, there's this ad, trust me. And it kind of showed this, it looked as I described it.
It certainly did.
A very European, luxurious atmosphere. And, but what you didn't see is the actual product.
Yeah?
You think of sunscreen, it comes out like this came out as like a tangerine, like, or blood orange red. And I mean, it's literally like putting baby oil on your skin.
Right, and this is not really about protecting your skin
This
from
was
the sun.
about getting a deep tan.
It's a bronzer.
The heck with the UVs. They were like, we don't care if you're gonna get skin cancer. We want you to have a deep tan.
Friendly reminder, even this time of year, you
Yes.
do need sunscreen,
Yes.
even if it's
Yes.
really cold outside because the sun
But that's
rays.
not what they were marketing.
No, they were not marketing skin protection there. Okay, so I'm glad that we've got that covered. I've been informed of Bain de Soleil, and my life is even more fulfilling
And the different
now.
numbers, cut, zin, the French.
The French, yes.
Pronunciations of those
Yes.
numbers.
Okay.
Very cool. Okay.
From France to Italy now. The men's Olympic hockey competition begins later this week, and Rasmus Dahlin will suit up for Sweden for the second time after being part of the squad in 2018 in Pyeongchang. Back then, he was only 17 years old, so he saw some limited ice time. But now his game is in a much different place, and the Sabres' first overall pick 8 years ago is established as one of the top defensemen in the NHL. Add it all together, a more mature Dahlin is embracing this opportunity.
It's definitely a dream come true, especially being from Sweden. You know, it's probably the biggest thing you can win back home. So it's, you know, you always look at Olympics when he was a kid, and I looked up to all the Swedish stars, and you know, it's for sure a dream come true. Being 17, I didn't really appreciate everything that was happening around it. Playing the games, I really did not understand how big it was, so this time I'm definitely going to enjoy it more.
Dahlin will begin his second Olympic Games when Sweden takes on host Italy tomorrow. As for Tage Thompson, the other Sabres player who is representing Team USA in the Olympics, they will play, Team USA plays on Thursday, so we'll be watching that one closely. And as for women's ice hockey, Haley Skimura from Gettsville, Nichols grad, she will be playing today. Massive game, USA versus Canada. A lot of people think that this is a precursor to the gold medal game that we probably will see in a couple weeks here in the Olympics. But it's also a rematch of the gold medal game from last time around when Canada came out on top. Haley Skimura and Team USA had a silver medal last time. So that'll be a great game to watch. 2:10 this afternoon on the USA Network and Peacock. Can't wait to see that. But Dahlin, he's been through so much lately.
Oh my gosh.
He's been very public about with his fiance, her issues with heart disease. And she had a heart transplant. So, you know, he took some time off from the Sabres in order to be with her in Europe as she was having a heart transplant. She only found out about the heart disease when she had a miscarriage. Rasmus and her were expecting a baby. They came publicly and said that she lost the baby, and that happened when she was dealing with her heart disease.
And I don't know this to be true, but you have to believe the team is rallying around him.
Oh.
And maybe what is inspiring some of their great play. Like we are defending or sticking up for our, our teammate who is going through what he's going through.
Yeah, and I'm sure Lindy Ruff taking a leadership role and saying, yeah, take as much time as you need. Family comes first. And Lindy did say this publicly. This is just a game.
Right.
This is your life, Rasmus. And so you take the time that you need to be with your fiance and deal with the emotional loss that you both are suffering with the loss of a child, which oftentimes no one comes and talks about publicly. And so it was really amazing for them to share that story because there's a stigma surrounding miscarriage and the loss of a baby.
Right.
So it was great for him to be able to do that, to speak for so many people in this world who have lost a child.
But then he comes back and he takes the time. They said, take as much time as you need. he wasn't gone all that long, and he comes back and he's rallying the Sabres to wins.
Yeah.
You know? And how does your team not just look at him and go, as the captain,
Yeah.
how do we not put our hearts out for you
Right.
on the ice?
Yeah. So for all of us here in Buffalo, of course, we'll be rooting for Team USA and for Tage Thompson, but a lot of us will be rooting for Team Sweden also and
Yes.
Rasmus Dahlin. Okay, finally, we've talked about the Olympics, but a little bit closer to home, we can all see some baseball in just about a month and a half. Baseball season will be here before you know it. We have the best groomers.
I know.
Just absolutely beautiful grass when it finally,
and you just
finally
watch that.
can see it.
Was that not soothing? Just to watch the lawnmower? Oh my.
Okay, let's hear what lawnmower. Let's hear what Brad Bisping has to say about what to expect this season.
The Celebrate with celery, obviously, always a great ballpark character. The Celebrate will be back. Our friendship bracelet night, which is we have a special performance by DJ Swifty on that for all the Taylor Swift fans. So check that out. But we also got some new themes this year, first time ever at the ballpark, that we think our fans are really going to enjoy.
Okay, so we will learn today about those theme nights. We'll get the schedule for them. Lots of fun ones like Star Wars night and take your dog to the ballpark days. I love that. But yeah, you like the sound of the lawnmower. I like the smell. I love the smell.
Now,
of
I will
grass.
say the last couple years, and this year maybe included, some of the early season games had to deal with snow.
Yeah. The first game is March 27th. The
Oh my
Bisons
gosh.
will be hosting
Could
the Rail
easily
Riders.
be a cold weather pattern.
And it seems like every year now they're pushing it earlier and earlier and earlier. It used to not start until the beginning of April. Now we're starting in March.
I wonder why that is. I wonder why. I mean,
I don't know. But yeah, they also practically give away the tickets for those first couple games because it is so cold in March and April.
To watch baseball despite the weather, it just gets you in that. And by the way, pitchers and catchers report, I guess, on Monday for MLB.
Let's do it. Band de Soleil and baseball.
For the Saint-Tropez lady.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.